Okay, let's start this a little bit easy. Hands up here, and there should be a few hands go up, if you're a speaker. Okay, and keep your hands up if, when you get a speaking book in that you have to come on stage, you get someone else to do it. Those people are amazing. I need to find out what they're doing. But most of us, now there's a reason for this question, most of us, we're either speakers or we're self-employed or we are, for want of a better word, we are our business. Okay? And so if we don't work, then we don't get paid, right? That's what I came to realise. When I started this solopreneur, entrepreneur, whatever journey you want to call it, that when I wasn't well, I didn't get paid. If I wasn't kind of fully present, I wasn't going to perform at my best. Does anyone here relate to that? Do you relate to that? And so I realised that it doesn't really matter sometimes when you've got all the strategies, the tools, the techniques for setting goals, achieving your objectives, whatever it might be. If you don't have that energy, that health, that vitality in order to execute on those ideas, it becomes a bit pointless. And so my kind of quest of several years took me along a random little path, but I started observing what made the difference for people that really excelled in these kind of areas. And that's why I've got the talk title of Unlock Your Inner Superhuman, because what it's about unlocking that superhuman within us. And there are certain things that really contribute to that. And it's really just four main things. And I'm going to share with you today just the iceberg, tip of the iceberg on one of these areas. For those that are curious, I will put some cards outside and you can understand a bit of the other four. And once you go through an entire course, then you understand exactly how to apply them. But for today, it's going to be fine. Just understand the first and most important part. And I call this model the leadership beat model. And you might think, well, hang on a second, I thought we were talking about health, vitality, energy here. What's that got to do with leadership? Truth be known, I used to call it the energy beat model, and on the cards it does say that. But what I came to realise was this, is that we're all leaders, especially if we're speakers, because we're on the stage and we're delivering our perspective on something, we're asking people to follow our advice, whatever it might be. But even if you're not a speaker, you're still a leader. And I think a lot of people think about leadership as leading other people. Now what I believe, and this is again possibly just a belief, is that if you want to lead other people, then the first person that you really need to lead is yourself. And if you want to lead yourself optimally, then I believe you must be on point, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And so this model is a tool, as a device to help get you there. And people can have an emphasis on one area or another, but what I found is if you don't focus on all four, then at some point you're going to falter. So like I said, it's quite an in-depth model. You can do many a degree on different sections, but what I want to cover is just the kind of the first letter really, the B. So before I reveal what that is, I'd like to sort of kind of propose something else that I realised, and that is that in order for things to happen, in order for anything to happen, in order for this PSA to come into being, it first started really as a thought in a few people's minds. We want to create a collective. The chair that you're sitting on first started as a thought in someone's mind. And so what I came to realise was that all these people try and make change, whether it's a new diet. Has anyone been on a diet before, ever in their lives? No one? No one cares about that? Yeah? Or maybe more than one? Yeah? Or started a new exercise regime or whatever it might be. Spend more time with your kids, whatever it is. But there hasn't been a fundamental shift in mindset. Because until you train the mind, the rest won't follow. This is what I say, you train the mind, the rest will follow. That's why I called my brand The Thought Gym, because I came to understand that until you start making those changes, people can go to the gym, they'll quit within a month, whatever it is. Until they start changing the mindset rather than just the behaviour, they're not going to really get the results that they're after. So the first section is called B for brain. So brain is really just kind of the metaphor for mindset psychology. Now when it comes to the brain, or the mindset, and feeling superhuman, in order to feel superhuman, and what I mean by superhuman is not, like people like Wim Hof who can walk up Mount Everest in their shorts, or other people who can hold their breath for 26 minutes, and all of these feats are possible, and these are superhuman feats. What I mean is being like a superior version to yourself, maybe a better version than the people that you see around you, those many people I interact with who maybe are kind of walking day to day in a zombified state, not really living with energy and passion. And just imagine for a second the best you've ever felt, and then just kind of 10x that. And imagine feeling like that, not by accident, but doing those things repeatedly. That's what I mean by unlocking your inner superhuman. Because then you can perform on stage, you can perform in your work exactly as you want to perform. Does that make sense? Yeah? So what's the first step in order to kind of becoming superhuman? Is you've got to do something different. You've got to make a change. But what precedes that change? And I know you guys know, so someone say it, and I'll see if you're right. And if you're wrong, it's fine as well. There's no right or wrong. But what's the answer I'm looking for? What precedes that change?
Thoughts. You've got to imagine this.
Okay, I'm looking for a word that begins with A. Ooh, it's an awareness. Awareness. Change begins with an awareness. You can't change something if you're not actually aware that you're doing it. You can't change putting your hand in your pocket if no one is saying, you put your hand in your pocket, you look sloppy. So you need that awareness, and even if you've got the awareness of the change, you sometimes need to be aware of what it is you do need to change. So that awareness is the first step. And unconsciously or consciously, we live these lives where often we're unaware. We do things habitually. And I know this because, well, actually, I'll tell you a story. A couple of weeks ago, I went to the dentist. I hadn't been to the dentist for quite a long time. And so I was a bit worried about what he was going to say about my teeth. But he looked at me and said, okay, you know, they're fine, they're really good, except for there's some cracks on there. And he said, well, that's because you grind your teeth, or you clench your teeth. And I was like, do I? You know, I don't know that. And he goes, yeah, you feel in periods of focused concentration, or if you're a sports person, often you might grind your teeth. It's quite a common thing, and not realise it. I was like, well, how do I change this? And he said, well, it doesn't really matter, because now that you've got this awareness, you're going to catch yourself whilst doing it, and you're going to start to develop the habit of releasing that. So, you know, I spent the next couple of days walking around like this, which I don't think is what he meant, but I haven't managed to catch that awareness. So I don't think that maybe everyone here is in the same boat where they're clenching their teeth, but I suspect that we have a similar way of doing things in the morning. And so I'm going to ask you a question now about your morning before you got here today. So think back to this morning, and think back to what leg you put through your underwear first. Don't tell me. Well, you can later maybe, whatever. But think back to yesterday and the day before. Was it the same leg? Now, chances are you probably even haven't thought about it until I've just mentioned it. But and if you're sitting there thinking, I didn't put any underwear on, then you still hopefully put trousers on. If you're wearing a skirt, then I would dress very quickly. But the point is, you've got to kind of have that awareness. And if you start to notice tomorrow morning, putting a different trouser leg on, it's going to feel uncomfortable. But all change at the beginning is uncomfortable, and often we try and make change to like big areas of our life without doing the small things first, without having that awareness of maybe changing small things. So when you start bringing that awareness into just changing your underwear around, you're going to start to notice what other patterns you do. You're going to start to become comfortable doing the uncomfortable, and it will condition your brain to kind of allow you to make the changes that are going to be necessary then to start this journey of unlocking your superhuman self. So I just want to quickly leave you. I know this has been quite a quick one here, but when it comes to unlocking that inner superhuman, the first step is really all about the mindset. It's about training the mind so that the rest will follow. And I believe that not only when you train the mind, not only will the rest follow, but when you understand the full concept of the beat model, when you understand the full concept of how the purpose of your mind plays in terms of your success, you'll not only train the mind and the rest will follow, but you'll also unlock your inner superhuman.